Prepare to post the colors. Ready, post!
For which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So on behalf of the congregation here at St. Mark's United Methodist, we welcome you. It is our honor and our privilege to serve as your host today for this memorial service, and we are here to serve you in whatever way you allow us. I do want to let you know that on Wednesday, June 21st, we will be having lunch and dinner for all law enforcement officers and staff. Lunch from 11 to 1, dinner from 6 to 8, and we'll make sure that each of you know more about this in the days to come. We appreciate your service. Would you please join with me as we pray? Eternal God, we gather this day as your brothers and sisters, as your children, as those who have come before you in search of your presence, in search of your blessing, in search of your healing. Oh God, as we offer ourselves, our families, our friends, our colleagues, and these fallen officers to you, oh God, may we bring glory to you and to the pursuit of justice and service in all ways of life. For it is in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, that we pray and that we lift our voices together as we pray together our Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
He and I had a duel to see who was going to do that. And we could obviously see who won that contest. My name is Stuart Beasley, and it is my privilege to once again coordinate this service. I appreciate everybody being here. I got here early, this morning for hair and makeup, but they said there's some things you just can't fix. So I'm not sure what that meant, but it sounded hurtful anyway. We are here today to honor 23 Texas peace officers who have lost their lives in the last 12 months. 5 of those 23 were killed in Dallas in one incident. One person, coward, I won't say his name, because he will get no honor today in this house, ambushed officers as they were keeping peace at a protest march in downtown Dallas. I'm sure you guys all remember July 7th last year. That incident dragged on for nearly 6 hours. Negotiations between the police and this murderer stalled as he continued to laugh and try to bait officers into the building where he was holed up. He was actually singing, repeatedly asking how many officers he had killed, and said that he would kill more. Dallas Police Chief David Brown, at that point, to my knowledge, made an unprecedented decision in law enforcement. He had his bomb squad attach a pound of C4 to one of their remote control bomb robots, and they sent him in the building after this cowardly murderer. The guy was still well armed. He shot the robot a number of times, but they found him and they killed him. And it brought a tragic episode to an end without any further loss of life. So I'd love to tell you that that was a movie, but the fact is that's the stuff that movies are made about. I'd like to recognize a few folks that are in attendance today. Assistant Chief Police Mike Leal from the Bel Air Police Department is here. Sergeant McShann from the Texas Department of Criminal Justice is here today. Constable Sherman Eglinton, is he here today? Did he make it? No. Captain Tom Moncrief from Pearland, did Tom make it? Thank you, sir. Also in attendance today is Miss Greenwood and members of the Greenwood family. Thank you for attending. I got a call this morning that said that they would be attending, so I'm honored to have you here. Each of those agencies lost an officer this year, guys. They all have somebody's name that will be calling out, so I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to introduce the City of Baytown Mayor, Steve Don Carlos.
You know, every year we have the faint hope that we won't have to be doing this, annual memorial for our law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty, but here we are, and the list never seems to get shorter. The thin blue line is under attack, and please understand that we at the city understand what y'all do for us every day, and we wanted to offer you our profound thanks on behalf of city council and administration for what you guys do every day, be it Baytown PD, be it the constable's office and the sheriff's office. Unfortunately, this year, as you know, brings a little bit more sadness, a little bit more heavy hearts because of the loss of Captain Greenwood. And while many years we gather here and we look at officers killed across the state that we may or may not know or know of, this year, unfortunately for our city, it became very, very real. And I want y'all to know we continue to grieve and we continue to do everything we can to support y'all, and we will continue to do so. That being said, I have a proclamation to present today recognizing National Police Week. Congress of the United States designated the week of May 14th through 20th, 2017 to be dedicated as National Police Week. May 19th, 2017 is designated as Police Memorial Day in Baytown. Our police officers are guardians of life and property and defenders of the individual right to be free. Our police officers are warriors in the battles against crime and terrorism and are dedicated to the preservation of life and property. Our police officers make it possible for us to leave our homes and family in safety each day and return to our homes knowing that we are protected when needed. The City of Baytown desires to honor the valor, service, and dedication of its own police officers. Therefore, I, Stephen Don Carlos, Mayor of the City of Baytown, Texas, do hereby proclaim the week of May 14th through 20th, 2017 as National Police Week in Baytown, and I call upon our residents to especially honor and show our sincere appreciation for the police officers of this city by our deeds, remarks, and attitudes. I call upon our citizens to make every effort to express their thanks to the men and women who are willing to sacrifice their lives if necessary to guard our loved ones' property and government against all who would violate the law. Signed, Stephen Don Carlos, Mayor.
I had 3 binders up here, but Assistant Chief Holden got up here when I walked out back and threw them out. But I had a backup copy of just a few words I'd like to share with you. But it's been over 70 years since we've had less than 100 officers that have been killed in the line of duty nationwide. Last year, there were 163 line of duty deaths. 43 of those deaths could have possibly been prevented. Those deaths were either accidental or health related. Through proper training, officers being properly equipped, wellness programs, and officers making sound tactical decisions based on their training, we hope to drop that number of officers killed to below 100. In previous years, I've spoken of changing our mindset. Last year, I spoke of our 4 cornerstones. Quite often, our mindset allows us to think we're invincible. Over the last 2 years, I've been sending out weekly training PowerPoints reminding us that we are invincible. And David looks forward to posting those every week. I appreciate that. But the 4 cornerstones: wear your armor, buckle up, slow down, and stay fit. We have a problem over which we can actually control to make a change. At the 2012 service, we had announced that there were 179 officers killed nationally in the previous 12 months. In 2013, we dropped that number to 125, 11 of which were Texas officers. In 2014, we announced that there had been 105 deaths, which was the lowest since 1944. Bernard remembers that. In 2015, the national number increased to 128. 12 officers and 2 canine officers, which were in Texas. In 2016, the number of officers killed nationally increased dramatically to 163, and 23 of those being Texas officers, 19 officers and 4 canine. If we can eliminate the predictable deaths, the numbers will hopefully fall below 100. Be safe, and God bless each and every one of you.
On Tuesday, May the 16th, Senator John Cornyn helped introduce Back the Blue Act of 2017. That would increase the penalties for criminals who intentionally target law enforcement officers, provide new tools for officers to protect themselves, also expands the opportunity to use grant funding to help strengthen relationships between police and communities. Deputy Regional Director for John Cornyn's office, Matthew Connor, is here with us today, and he's brought with him a letter from Senator Cornyn. Matt.
Thank you so much for having me. The Senator just asked me to read a few words that he wanted me to present, and this is a momentum occasion, and it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much. Dear friends, it is my pleasure to send my greetings as you gather to recognize and honor our law enforcement officers who contribute so much to the state of Texas and our great nation. We have the greatest appreciation for the commitment and sacrifice required to serve. These heroic citizens who safeguard our nation, our way of life, our state, are the fabric that makes up our community and makes it extraordinary. Their pledge of honor and duty to the community serves as a lesson to us all. I particularly applaud this ceremony, which recognizes those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. The recent targeting of law enforcement officers is a growing concern of mine. To this end, I introduce the Back the Blue Act, which will strengthen the laws to protect our law enforcement and expand self-defense rights of these public heroes. I join with the Baytown community in saluting the dedication of all officers and members of law enforcement. And I encourage the Baytown Police Department and everyone who serves in law enforcement to continue pursuing excellence for the years to come. Thank you so much. Sincerely, John Cornyn, United States Senator. Thank you.
At the same time, the House of Representatives was passing their own legislation called the Thin Blue Line Act. That happened on May the 18th. Our representative locally, Congressman Brian Babin, was proud to be one of the co-sponsors of this legislation, which places the killing of state and local law enforcement officers equal to that of federal law enforcement officers when a jury is considering the death penalty. Here today representing Congressman Babin is Will Carter.
So Congressman Babin wishes he could be here and asked me to read a letter on his behalf. This letter is an excerpt from the congressional record which he filed earlier this week to recognize National Police Week. To the law enforcement officers of the 36th Congressional District, I am sorry that I am unable to join you today at today's Law Enforcement Officer Memorial Service. I want to express my sincere appreciation for each of the law enforcement officers in the 36th District. Today is a day to remember those officers who will never go home, see their spouses, see their children, or walk on God's earth again. This service is in recognition of National Police Week, May 14th through 20th, 2017. Established by a joint resolution of Congress in 1962, President John F. Kennedy proclaimed National Police Week, proclaimed May 15th as National Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week in which that day falls is National Police Week. This is a time to honor those who form the thin blue line that protects our community and pay tribute to those who have given their life keeping us safe. I couldn't be more thankful and proud of the men and women who protect our communities. May God continue to protect our entire law enforcement community and comfort the family and comrades of those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice. Thank you, each of you, for your service. Thank you, and God bless Dr. Brian Babin, Member of Congress.
This is my fourth year consecutively to try to get a speaker from the SEAL community to talk at our event. I probably, in that time, talked to a dozen guys. But since our event is so close to Memorial Day, most of those guys are tied up with either their own foundations or helping another one of their teammates with some sort of commitment for Memorial Day. So I haven't had much luck, but it's all about who you know. Last summer, my wife was transferred from the Baytown Exxon refinery to Beaumont. And as luck would have it, one of the guys in her office is a SEAL, retired. And so she came home from work and said, hey, I can probably get you a SEAL. Now, in years past, I'd have laughed that off, but I have been married to this lady for 23 years, and I can attest to how resourceful she is sometimes. So, it makes me a little bit emotional when I know how hard I tried to get those speakers, and she makes 2 phone calls. And so I said, yeah, go, big shot, get after it, go ahead. And not in so many words, but she talked to the guy at her office, and he made a phone call, and presto, we have our warrior. So Chris Nicola is a native of San Marcos, graduated from Stratford High School here in Houston. He went on to Southwest Texas State University, but I have a feeling he might have wanted to go to Texas A&M in College Station. I'm sorry, Chris, that's just, we have precedent there. Where he received a bachelor's in science, law enforcement. After graduating in college, Chris joined the Navy, intent on attending basic underwater demolition program, better known as BUDS, or SEALs training. Chris successfully completed and graduated from BUDS with Class 136. Upon completion, he was assigned to SEAL Team 1, which was a bit of a homecoming, considering both of his younger brothers were already with SEAL Team 1. So much for genetics not meaning a whole lot, right? Chris had numerous combat deployments with both SEAL Teams 1 and 3. He has 26 decorated years of service in the Navy, 25 as a SEAL, both in forward combat areas and as a SEAL instructor. While in a reserve role with the SEAL teams, Chris joined the Houston Police Department, where he served in a number of capacities: patrol officer, tactical operations dive team, gang task force, criminal vice detective. However, after 9/11, he left HPD to work as a government contract agent with, again, multiple combat deployments in Afghanistan and Iraq. He returned to HPD as an instructor in their academy and retired from HPD in 2013. Currently resides in Houston with his wife Stacy, who is also a full-time law enforcement officer. Chris Nicole.
FYI, my youngest brother happens to be an Aggie, so. He got his bachelor's degree from A&M, and then he decided that wasn't good enough, so he went to medical school at the University of Texas, just to clear the board, you know. I just want to say thank you. It's an honor and a privilege to be here with you all today. Mayor, Chief, I definitely appreciate you having me. And I have to say a special thanks to my beautiful wife, as Stuart mentioned, is not only a full-time law enforcement investigator with the Texas Attorney General, she's a retired Oklahoma Master Peace Officer. I didn't hold that against her, but she got here as fast as she could. She's not here today, of course, she's on the job, like a lot of officers are. Nonetheless, I'm extremely proud of her, and I know that she wished she could be here to support me. I'm kind of glad she didn't, because I'd have had a box of Kleenex up here with me. She brings that out of me somehow. Also, before I get started, I wanted to say to all the peace officers, the military veterans, and especially the families that are here today, for your service to our communities, to our great state, and to our nation. From me to you, I say thank you. I truly appreciate it. It's been over 30 years since I began a journey that included a Navy SEAL career and an exciting law enforcement career. My two younger brothers, as Stuart mentioned, they walked the beach before me, and they prepared all the instructors for the fact that at least one more of us would be attending SEAL training. They were literally waiting for me when I checked in that day. No sooner did roll call start with me feeling pretty comfortable in the back section where all the N's were of the alphabet of 131 shaved cue ball heads, when everything stopped. Where's Nicola? And so it began. All of a sudden, I was kind of wishing that I was back on the banks of the San Marcos River, where I used to sit in the shade while I was still hard at my studies, as you can imagine, without distraction, at what is now Texas State University. I was on the 6-year plan, by the way, so the world I had grown accustomed to over that period was soon to come to an end, and it wasn't easy to let go of. I had graduated with, like Stuart said, with the ever-elusive bachelor's degree in hand. And as I waited to see if I would be fortunate enough for any of the agencies I applied for to hire me, DEA, DPS, the Border Patrol, etc., I had to regularly listen to my two younger brothers tell me all about how I needed to join the Navy and go to BUD/S. It was the perfect job for us, they said. You get to go scuba diving, you get to jump out of airplanes, hike, swim, run, camp. Oh, and then there's Hell Week. Tired of waiting for a real job, no offense to my really cool 8 to 4 dispatch job at University Police, I decided to go for it. And wouldn't you know it, the day before I was to leave for the Navy, I got a letter from the Border Patrol inviting me to their training academy. I remember that day, sitting on the front steps of my grandma's house, wondering, reading that letter, what should I do? And then I decided that I was sure to have a lot of fun on the California beaches and sun and surf, so I left. A lot of people doubted my ability to make it through the program. My recruiter laughed at me. A couple of my lifeguard friends said, "That's the hardest job in the world. You're not strong enough, you're too short." Even my uncle said, "Well, you know, your two brothers were much younger than you when they went through there. You're 24 years old now." And I didn't really, a lot of people ask me, that bothers me, that kind of doubt. I didn't really reflect on it until I graduated from BUD/S, and then 25 years later when I retired, then I thought about it, and it was kind of humorous. We're here today to honor the service and lives of those who have paid the highest price and made the ultimate sacrifice. We are here like our brothers and sisters all over the nation this week so that their sacrifice will not be forgotten. One of those I personally will always remember is Houston Police Officer Richard Martin. Richard was killed during a pursuit of a violent felon on the west side of Houston 2 years ago yesterday. He was an academy classmate of mine, and he was my friend. And in thinking about what message I wanted to deliver to you today, I found myself thinking so much of what got me here, or maybe who got me here. I reflected on role models of the days when I was much younger. A few popular names that come to mind, I'm sure will ring a bell to some of you, are John F. Kennedy, as mentioned earlier, Neil Armstrong, Mark Spitz, but as significant and not necessarily as well known are Johnny Weissmuller, Jesse Owens, and Audie Murphy. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention folks like Mary Marty, Wilson Spear, and Edward Thomas. Those names may or may not ring a bell. They are all accomplished and very successful. A naval officer, an astronaut, an Olympic champion swimmer. Of course, JFK, and that was our 35th president and signed the Peace Officers Memorial Day and Week into law in 1962. Weissmuller was an Olympic swimmer that was the first Tarzan. I don't know if you knew that or not. Jesse Owens was an Olympic champion track star that shattered the record books at just one track meet. And Audie Murphy was one of the most decorated American combat soldiers of World War II. He received every military combat award for valor available from the U.S. Army. And of course, he was Texan. Of no less significance to me are my great-grandmother, Mary Marty, who immigrated here from Lebanon via Ellis Island, the late Colonel Wilson Spear, who spent a lifetime in the Texas Highway Patrol and was a professor and mentor to hundreds of criminal justice students at Southwest Texas State in the 1980s. And Mr. Edward Thomas was, at the time of his retirement in 2013, the longest serving police officer in the country. He went through Houston Police Academy class number 1. Today, names like Chris Kyle, Pat Tillman, and Clint Greenwood probably evoke immediate and intense emotion, and they should. People like this will be the role models of our children today. On Christmas Eve, just a couple of months after I got off probation with Houston Police, I was on evening shift patrol in West Houston. 2 words we hate to hear the most: officer down. I was the second unit to arrive, only to see the officer being loaded into the ambulance. I got a look at the police ID on the other unit's front seat. It was my classmate. Don Erickson was pronounced dead on arrival at Ben Taub Hospital. Don's death would be just the first death of a close police friend during my career at Houston PD. And all of a sudden, I knew that the job of being a cop was going to be hard. Excuse me. When Officer Tony Trin was murdered at his family's convenience store and Sergeant Kent Kincaid was gunned down in front of his family in Northwest Houston, I knew that this was going to be a lot harder job than I thought. Not just for the work that we do every day, but for those we can't protect from evil. There are no words that can be said to take away the pain of losing a friend or a loved one. We can only thank God for having the opportunity to know them, to work with them, and to love them. And I mention these few friends as a means of remembering them and honoring their sacrifice. Shortly after I accepted the invitation to speak here, and while conducting research on the wildly popular social media giant Facebook, I observed a post from a young rookie Houston police officer I know. She exclaimed that she was going to do research in preparation to take the entrance test to enlist in the military. She was preparing to become a Marine Corps reservist. I was shocked to see a reply to her post that said, "Why would you want to join the military when you already have a career as a police officer?" My immediate thoughts were many, but like, why would an NFL football star leave a multi-million-dollar contract to become an Army Ranger? Why would a highly decorated Navy SEAL sniper leave the military to become a rank-and-file police officer? Why would an accomplished Texas lawyer return to community law enforcement? Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country comes to mind. Being a cop, in my opinion, is a calling. You all chose the life of a law enforcement officer. You weren't drafted. And each and every day, rain or shine, day or night, winter or hot Texas summer, you're the sheepdogs. You guard the flock from the wolves that prey on the weak. You stand in the gap and you make up the hedge to keep evil away from our families, our friends, and even strangers. And I wanted that life. I felt ready for that life. I wanted to make a difference. Not all of the people I mentioned earlier served in the military, but I believe they all had the drive and the desire to serve others. Ask yourself why you chose a career in law enforcement. If it was the only game in town during this economy and you haven't quite grasped the concept of self-sacrifice, either give it a little while longer or seriously, sit down and think about why you do the job you do. A hero is defined as a person who is admired or idealized for courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities, a brave man or woman. And I can say without a doubt, none of us sign up for this job thinking that we're going to be a hero someday. But we come to work every day, no matter the pay, no matter the work. And yes, there are those among us who will be called a hero for some courageous act or another. Many of those we consider to be heroes are no longer with us, for they paid the ultimate price, the ultimate act of courage. And the recent years have been incredibly difficult for many of us. We have lost officers here, at home, and seemingly in all of the United States. We've all been hit hard. It never gets easier, ever. The senseless murder of our brother Darren Goforth and our brother Clint Greenwood were as difficult as I can remember for many of us. And their deaths and those of the other 18 officers and 4 canines this year in Texas will be felt in our guts and in our hearts for a long, long time. And no one understands the ultimate sacrifice more than the families of those brave individuals. Today we honor you and we pray for you as well. People like all of these, in my opinion, also share something else in common that I'd like to draw from today. These people seem to all believe in achieving excellence. Not just for awards or fame, they chose to be excellent because it was right for them, I believe. And I want to share with you what has been used as a campaign of sorts for SEAL recruiting in recent years. It's called the 7 Keys of Excellence. Excellence. Excellence must become a lifelong habit. Set your goals high and never lower your personal or professional standards. Attitude. Attitude is contagious. Be a positive force in all things you do and stay away from those who doubt. Knowledge. Knowledge must be achieved through hard work. Stay humble and listen to those who have walked the path before you. Discipline. Discipline drives you towards success. Stay focused and maintain your course and speed toward your goals every day. Perseverance. Perseverance is the key to overcoming adversity. Success comes one small step at a time, so never ever quit. Adaptability. Adaptability equals survivability. Stay flexible and apply your mind to deal with the unexpected challenges life throws at you. Courage. Courage is required every day of your life. Stand by your dreams and strive always to be prepared, for one day you will be tested. When I was a trainer at the Houston Police Academy, I would divide these up and read them to the cadets a little bit at a time over the 6 months that they were there. I feel that the message applies to what we do in law enforcement as much as it does in the SEAL world. In fact, I believe that if you apply these 7 keys to your personal life, you may also be able to achieve excellence in your own world. In January this year, I lost a dear, close, longtime SEAL brother and friend. His name was Richard Makowitz. Mac is best known as the host of the Discovery Channel's Future Weapons. You might have seen him, bald, tough guy. But he also created a brand called Not Dead Can't Quit, or NDCQ. He came up with that based on something he was told before he and I started SEAL training together in 1985. A man is only beaten in 2 ways, if he gives up or dies. Mac shortened that to NDCQ. He also wrote a popular book entitled Unleash the Warrior Within, a reading I strongly encourage you to undertake. Mac was diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer in August of 2015 and given 2 weeks to live. He battled for 18 months. Early on, he asked me to help him and his wife plan his funeral service. It was sad to watch him deteriorate, but every day, every week, and every month that he was struggling, he would tell me and his wife, "I'm not just sitting here waiting to die. I'm not going to quit." It was amazing. I was at his house the day he died, and I can tell you, as hard as that was, I knew that he fought with every ounce of warrior strength that he had until he absolutely could not physically take another breath. If Mac were here today, he would tell you all to never ever quit. He would tell you that being a warrior isn't about what you wear on the outside. It's not about your guns or your knives or the color of your badge. It's about your heart. It's about your will to live and to never quit. No matter what you're doing, no matter how bad it gets, if you have one breath left in your body, breathe that breath and fight until you can no longer. Interestingly, Mac was born on Memorial Day in 1965, something he felt strongly about and passionately reflected on, even as he was preparing for death. The last thing I will leave you with is something that another retired SEAL said at Mac's funeral. He said to Mac's 2 little girls, "Your daddy is gone from this earth now, but he is watching you from heaven, and even though he's gone from here physically, he's always going to be in your heart. I know that you will miss him. Anytime you want to see your daddy, all you have to do is close your eyes, and he'll be there." Think about that anytime you think about and want to remember your lost brother or sister. Work together as a team, and you will achieve great success. Stay together as a law enforcement family. You are sure to have disagreements like any family, but just as you comfort each other in sorrow, you will celebrate together in achievements. Trust in your leadership, be proud of your service, and strive for continued excellence. May God bless you all, and thank you, and stay safe.
We'll now do the roll call of honor. Officer Indy Encampia. Sergeant Stacy Baumgardner. Officer Calvin McCullers, Jr. Officer Michael Kroll. Officer Michael Smith. Officer Patrico Zamariba. Officer Brent Thompson. Senior Corporal Bradley Aarons. Officer Marco Zarate. Officer Mary Ann Johnson. Officer Justin Sherlin. Officer Amir Khalik. Deputy Kenneth Maltby. Corporal Robert Ransom. Assistant Commander Kenneth Stars. Border Patrol Agent David Gomez. Detective Benjamin Marsoni. Detective Jerry Walker. Assistant Chief Deputy Clint Greenwood. K-9 Ledger. K-9 Rex. K-9 Bruno. And K-9 Mojo.
Once upon a time, I swore I had a heart. Long before the world I know tore it all apart. Once upon a time, there was a part of me I shared. Years before they took away the part of me that cared. I've been 1,000 places and shook a million hands. I don't know where I'm going, but I know just where I've been. I've flown a million miles and I wrote so many more. Every day a castaway, a vagabond, battle-born. A battle-born. Once upon a time I had an open point of view. That was just so long ago, before I had a clue. Was there such a time where I didn't stand alone? Was there ever a time, and how would I have known? I've been 1,000 places and shook a million hands. I don't know where I'm going, but I know just where I've been. I've flown a million miles and I wrote so many more. Every day a castaway, a vagabond, battle-born.
Attention all passengers, flight 555, now departing from Las Vegas to London.
I'm Captain Clay Higgins, asking every patriot to stand up, share this video, and send a clear message to the world. We're Americans. We'd rather die on our feet than live on our knees.
I've been 1,000 places and shook a million hands. I don't know where I'm going, but I know just where I've been.
2 police officers killed and 1 wounded during a shooting in Palm Springs.
Snipers shoot 11 police officers in Dallas. 4 of them have now died.
The deaths of 2 officers who were gunned down while answering a domestic disturbance call.
Police officer who was gunned down on her first day on the job.
Every day a castaway, a vagabond, battle-born. A battle-born. A battle-born. Every day a castaway, a vagabond, battle-born. Battle-born. My old friend, I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, neath the halo of a street lamp. I turned my collar to the cold and damp, when my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking. People hearing without listening. People writing songs that voices never share. And no one dared disturb the sound of silence. Fool said I, you do not know. Silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words that I might teach you. Take my arms that I might reach you. But my words, like silent raindrops, fell and echoed in the wells of silence. And the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made. And the sign flashed out his warning, and the words that it was forming. And the sign said the words of the prophets are written on the subway walls and tenement halls, and whispered in the sound of silence.
I let Felipe sing God Bless America. I took that one. Just a joke. In closing, just like to thank a few folks. Gavin Vaughn was our TAPS player today. He's a Memorial Baytown High School student. He did a fantastic job. Gavin is going to go on to Stephen F. Austin next year to study music. We wish you all the luck, big guy. He's been threatening me for a number of years, and I'm a little bigger than him, so I've kept him in line. But Sergeant Leonard Wagner with Metro PD is actually going to retire June 1st. So after, I think this is 13 for you, I may have to either bring him back kicking and screaming, or find another bagpipe player. But Leonard, we wish you all the luck in the world. Over 30 years in law enforcement, guys. Reverend Peter Miller and all the staff here at St. Mark's. Again, this is kind of our home for this project, so I appreciate your hospitality. Ricky Wheeler and the Chamber of Commerce always supports us in every capacity. Thank you for lunch and everything that you do for us, Ricky. Jeff Singletary at Kona for printing. Beehive Florist always does the flowers and the wreath for us. And I kind of used this last year. I know you guys probably think that I'm getting really good at this video business, but I actually just turned that completely over to Lloyd Lively this year. I had exhausted any little minute bit of creativity I had. It was gone a long time ago. So I asked Lloyd to just do it, and I should have gotten out of the way of that a long time ago. Thank you, Lloyd. Since we've been here, the coordinator for the church has been one lady who, much like my wife, you know who's in charge when she's in the room. She retired last year and was replaced by a young man named David Diaz de Leon. And David has been a fantastic help in and around the church, along with Dave Beltram helping with the sounds. The Honor Guard, you guys always do a fantastic job. I appreciate you. Our flower lady, young lady this year was Adley. Where did she go? Adley Gaskins and her father, Sergeant Chris Gaskins. Excuse me. Last night, I was fortunate enough to be invited to Barbers Hill Middle School North, where they had an art project. They get to decorate stools that are auctioned off. The art teacher allows them to choose the foundation or charity of their choice. And they chose Project Blue out of Baytown. For those of you who may not know about Project Blue, it operates similar to the 100 Club, only for officers who are not killed in the line of duty. Those who die or who are killed off duty, because sometimes the funds aren't nearly as available for them. So they invited me. The teachers and staff actually bid on that particular stool, and then they donated the stool to the Baytown Police Department. Eighth grader named Madison Wynn is actually the one who got that. I tried to get it into the chief's office today, but it won't fit, so it's coming home with me. So I really did not know what it was all about. As it often happens down at my office, my sergeant hands me a slip of paper and says, "Can you be here at this date and time?" And I said, "Yeah," and it was really a fantastic event. So in closing, I'd like to say that these are, Chris and I did not actually get these together, but kind of pulling off of his sheepdog comment. These are difficult days in which to be a sheepdog. We're trained to watch for the wolves and protect those sheep. And we know sometimes wolves will be dangerous and they're going to bite. But of late, we've been bitten somewhat by the sheep that we're sworn to protect. And that adds a new level of difficulty to protecting the flock. God bless you all, and I appreciate you being in attendance. Dismissed.